Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, not from a nightmare, but from a persistent question? What truly belongs to me? And am I losing it right now? In the relentless churn of the modern world, we're taught to fight, to acquire, to hold on, to cling to everything: love, dream jobs, fame, even a perfect photo on social media. We fear loss so intensely that this fear becomes an invisible chain, binding us to things that can vanish at any moment. We believe happiness lies in possession, in control. We dread separation, we dread change, so much so that we'd rather stay in a toxic relationship or a dead-end job than face the emptiness of letting go. But what if that very act of holding on, the most instinctive, ingrained human behavior, is actually the deepest source of suffering? What if the key to peace, to fulfillment, isn't to grip tighter, but to release our grasp? This is a stark paradox, a hidden truth that ancient wisdom has sought to unveil for millennia. It goes against everything we've been taught, every survival instinct etched into our subconscious. Listen closely to the whispers from ancient tales, to Buddhist parables that are not just stories, but maps leading to liberation. They will not only show you the door, but also hand you the key to escape the prison of your own mind. Because there is a simple yet profoundly powerful truth. If it's truly yours, it will find you, in its own time, in its own way. And when you truly understand that, every burden will dissolve. Your life will no longer be an endless battle, but a peaceful flow, where you find contentment in the present moment itself. Are you ready to discover this liberating power? Imagine a bird trapped in a cage. It has food, water, a safe shelter. But is it truly free? Or does every futile flap against the cold bars only deepen the pain of its confinement? In this life, we often don't face physical bars. Our prisons are far more subtle, more insidious, for they are woven from the very threads of our own minds. And the first, heaviest bar, separating us from the open sky of freedom, is the deep-seated fear of impermanence. We are born and raised in a world that teaches us about ownership, about accumulation. We're told that happiness comes when we acquire what we desire and hold on to it forever. From that cherished childhood toy to the first passionate love, the dream job, even fame and social status, all are implicitly defined as possessions that we must protect at all costs. Each loss feels like a failure, a permanent scratch on the perfect picture of life we so desperately try to paint. Yet, the truth is far more stark. From the moment we grasp anything, an exquisite porcelain cup, a flower in full bloom, a nascent relationship, that is precisely when its journey of change and eventual dissolution begins. Nothing in this universe is permanent. Summer will yield to autumn, rivers flow ceaselessly, our very bodies change with every passing second. This is not a pessimistic outlook, but a fundamental truth about the nature of all things. And it is this denial of truth that builds the first bar of our mental prison. We desperately try to freeze moments, to hold on to what cannot be held, to strain against life's natural current. The fear of loss, of facing emptiness, becomes a haunting specter, preventing us from living fully in the present. We cling to old definitions of self, to idealized versions of life, to expectations that no longer serve us, and this futile struggle shackles us in suffering. Think of an artist who has spent a lifetime perfecting a sculpture made of ice. Every chisel stroke is meticulous, laborious, creating a shimmering masterpiece under the sun. But then, the sun climbs higher, and drops of water begin to trickle down his creation. If he clings to the initial form of the sculpture, he will suffer boundlessly. He will rage at the sun, at the laws of physics, at fate itself. He will try to hold on to the melting drops, even though he knows it's useless. We are similar. In an age of perfect social media photos, of forever relationships painted in dazzling hues, we are building illusory cages for ourselves. We are terrified when a friend changes, when a job no longer brings joy, when our bodies are not what they once were. The fear of loss, of change, is often greater than the actual pain of loss itself, because it lingers and gnaws at our souls daily. So, what is the first key to unlock this bar? The lesson here is not to abandon love or abandon our goals. Rather, It is to love without possessing, to live with passion without clinging to outcomes, and to cherish each present moment without grasping at the illusion of permanence. Understanding that true appreciation lies in the experience itself, in the imprint it leaves on our hearts, not in the unchanging nature of objects or emotions. When you dare to look directly at the truth of impermanence, accepting that everything is in a constant state of flow, you will begin to feel a gentle liberation. You will no longer have to strain against the tide. You will start to learn to loosen your grip, to let what does not belong to you drift away, and to allow what truly is yours the space to find you. This is the first, courageous step to free yourself from intrinsic fear and open the door to inner peace. If the fear of impermanence is the first bar of our prison, then the second unyielding wall in our mental confinement is our furious resistance to reality. Imagine you are standing on a beach, and from a distance, you see a massive wave heading towards you. What can you do? You can shout, curse at it, try to command it to stop. You can summon all your strength to push it back. You might even close your eyes and wish it would vanish. But will that wave disappear? Will it stop simply because you don't want it to? Certainly not. It will still crash, and all your efforts to resist will only leave you exhausted, panicked, and perhaps more painfully overwhelmed. This is often how we face life. Life, like the ocean, is in constant motion, bringing waves of joy, sorrow, success, failure, encounters, and partings. We, with our limited perspectives and personal expectations, often try to bend reality to our will. When things don't go as we wish, when a plan falls apart, a loved one departs, an illness strikes, or an opportunity slips away, our first instinct is to resist. We get angry, we become dissatisfied, we blame, we regret, we cling, we deny. Why is this happening to me? This question echoes in our minds, not as genuine curiosity, but as an angry cry, a refusal to accept. We believe that if we try hard enough, if we fight hard enough, everything will eventually fall into the exact orbit we've predetermined. But life doesn't work that way. In Buddhist teachings, there's a story about a disciple who came to his master with a sorrowful face. "Master," he said, "I suffer because life is not as I want it to be." The master simply smiled gently and replied, "You suffer because you resist what is. Life is not here to please you, it is here to teach you." That teaching strikes like lightning through our mistaken perception. Acceptance does not mean resignation or giving up. Acceptance does not mean abandoning the fight for what you believe is right or condoning what harms you. Rather, it is about seeing reality clearly, without adding the filter of our desires or self-deception. It is the ability to say yes to what is happening, even when it's difficult, even when it's not what we wished for. Why is acceptance so hard? Because our minds constantly create stories about how things should be. We have a perfect script in our heads for our careers, our relationships, our lives. And when reality doesn't match that script, we feel threatened, betrayed. We try to bend reality to fit our expectations, and this futile struggle creates a wall separating us from peace. Think of an athlete who suffers an injury just before the most important competition of their life. They could descend into an internal battle, raging at fate, blaming themselves, resenting their own body. They could expend all their energy denying the truth, desperately seeking a hopeless miracle. Or they could accept the injury, however painful and disappointing. Acceptance doesn't mean they stop loving their sport or abandon their dreams. Instead, it means acknowledging the reality of their physical condition, so that from there, they can make wiser decisions. Focus on recovery, seek new treatment, or even find a new path to continue their passion. The second key to breaking down this wall lies in a small but revolutionary shift in our questions. Instead of agonizing with a victim's tone, "Why is this happening to me?" we learn to ask with a spirit of exploration, "What is this teaching me?" This simple shift in perspective opens a new door in our perception. It transforms challenges that seemed like injustices into invaluable lessons. When we accept that life doesn't always cater to personal wishes, but acts as a great teacher, we begin to see profound meaning even in loss and suffering. Acceptance also means learning to embrace ourselves, with all our light and shadows, our mistakes and imperfections. How many times do we harshly criticize ourselves for past choices, for present flaws? We build a defensive wall against our true selves, believing that self-criticism will push us to be better. But no, self-punishment only weakens us and keeps us stuck. Only when we accept ourselves wholeheartedly, with compassion and understanding, can we truly transform and move forward. That wall of resistance is not destiny. It is a misunderstanding. When we stop fighting what is, when we stop trying to bend reality, we not only find peace but also discover true power. The power to see clearly, to adapt, and to take meaningful action instead of reacting in vain. In the next chapter, we will explore another invisible chain we forge for ourselves, the obsession with control, and how trusting life's flow can liberate us from that burden. After the bars of impermanence and the wall of resisting reality, we often shackle ourselves with another invisible but formidable burden, the fear of control. Imagine a potter. He has a vision of a perfect vase, its shape, color, sheen. He prepares the clay, meticulously kneads it, places it on the wheel. He pours his heart into shaping it, forming every curve, every small detail. But then, when the vase is fired in the kiln, can he completely control that process? He can adjust the temperature, time it precisely, but he cannot control every molecule of clay reacting to the fire, every tiny crack that might appear, or the glaze unexpectedly shifting in shade. If he clings to the idea of absolute perfection of the vase before firing, and reacts furiously to every slight change, he will live in extreme anxiety. He will be exhausted trying to control what is beyond his grasp. We are similar. In our lives, we all have plans, goals, and deep desires. We want a stable job, a lasting relationship, a happy family, a secure future. And that is perfectly natural. But the problem arises when desire transforms into an obsession with control. We try to manage every variable, anticipate every risk, manipulate every situation so that everything goes exactly as we intend, according to the perfect script we've written in our heads. We try to control others' thoughts, our partner's emotions, our children's behavior, even our own body's reactions to illness. We believe that if we are smart enough, try hard enough, are careful enough, we can eliminate all risks, avoid all pain, and guarantee eternal happiness. But life, like a river, is in constant motion. It winds through rapids, meanders through unexpected bends, sometimes surging powerfully, sometimes flowing peacefully. It doesn't care about our meticulous plans, and it is this stubborn desire for control that becomes an invisible chain, stifling our freedom and joy. When we cling to what we cannot control, we will constantly live in anxiety, disappointment, and exhaustion. In Buddhism, there's a well-known story about a man stuck on a cliff. He was hanging precariously, clutching a small tree branch, with a deep chasm below. He was exhausted, terrified, but dared not let go. He didn't know that directly below him, only a few handbreadths away, was a sturdy rock ledge, safe ground he could step onto if he only dared to release the decaying branch. But the fear of falling, the fear of losing the only control he had, kept him trapped in hopeless terror. We, like that man, often live in a vague fear of a hypothetical abyss. We cling to unhappy jobs, to dried-up relationships, to expectations that only bring frustration, simply for fear of letting go. We fear that if we don't control, everything will collapse, we will fall into a bottomless pit. But in many cases, it is precisely letting go that saves us, helping us find solid ground, find a safe path. So how do we learn to relinquish control? The third key to breaking this chain lies in accepting a simple truth. Uncertainty is an inherent part of life. Nothing is absolutely guaranteed. The problem is not uncertainty itself, but our resistance to it. Instead of viewing the future with fear and trying to predict everything, we can look at it with curiosity, even excitement. What opportunities will life bring me? What exciting things might happen when I stop meticulously planning every moment? Have you ever noticed that, many times, what we perceive as a big problem turns out to be a doorway to something better? A lost job leads you to your true passion. A relationship ends, only to make room for a deeper, more authentic love. Everything is connected in ways we cannot always see in the present moment. Another way to practice relinquishing control is to stop identifying ourselves with outcomes. We do things because we enjoy the process, not just because we expect a specific reward or result. Like a painter who immerses himself in painting without worrying whether the canvas will sell. Like a child who plays absorbedly without thinking about winning or losing. When we act from this place, life becomes lighter, freer. Meditation is also a crucial tool here. It helps us observe our fears without being swept away by them. It allows us to clearly see what we can change and what we cannot. Letting go of control does not mean we leave everything to chance. It means we trust that, whatever happens, we are capable of handling it. It means we stop resisting and start flowing with life. And when we flow, something beautiful happens. We begin to feel deeper compassion, not just for others, but for ourselves. Because letting go is not just about the external world. It's about freeing ourselves from our own self-judgment and self-criticism. In the next chapter, we will explore compassion, another essential pillar of Buddhist wisdom, and how it helps us live with more love and less suffering, liberating us from the burden of resentment and self-blame. We have journeyed together through the rooms of the mind's prison, exploring the invisible bars of impermanence, the wall of resisting reality, the chains of control obsession, and the heavy shackles of resentment and self-judgment. These 4 keys, letting go, acceptance, trust, and compassion, are not merely abstract concepts. They are living tools, possessing true power to break down the walls we inadvertently build around our souls. But the biggest question remains: how do we truly hold these keys in our hands? How do we transform these ancient wisdoms into a part of our breath, of every step in our daily lives? The answer lies in a simple yet profoundly powerful practice, a path illuminated for thousands of years: meditation. Listen to the story of the Zen master and the muddy water. A young disciple, his mind constantly swirling with thoughts and worries, approached his master. "Master," he said, "my mind is like a whirlwind of thoughts. I try to find peace, but the harder I try, the more restless I become." The master simply smiled. He handed the disciple a glass of muddy water and shook it vigorously. "Look," he said, "this water is now so cloudy you cannot see through it." Then he placed the glass down and said, "Now wait." Gradually, little by little, the mud began to settle at the bottom of the glass. The water slowly became clear, transparent. "Your mind is just like this," the master explained. "If you allow it to settle, clarity will come by itself." Meditation is not about trying to push away or stop thoughts. It is about allowing ourselves to observe without judgment, so the mind can return to its inherent state of stillness. Meditation is not an escape from problems, nor an attempt to clear the mind. It is a deliberate practice to train our minds, so we can see things more clearly, unclouded by layers of anxiety, fear, and attachment. In a world constantly bombarded by external stimuli, phone notifications, social media feeds, sensational news, never-ending to-do lists, our minds rarely get true rest. Meditation is like turning off all external noise, to listen to what truly matters within. Many people say they can't meditate because their minds won't stop thinking. But the truth is, the mind doesn't need to stop thinking. Meditation is not about stopping the flow of thoughts, but about learning to observe those thoughts like clouds drifting across the sky. They come and go, but the sky, your deep mind, is always there, vast and serene. When you close your eyes and focus on your breath, you begin to realize that everything is impermanent. A thought appears and disappears, an emotion arises and fades away. This understanding, reinforced through practice, is the foundation for truly letting go of what doesn't belong to you. There are many forms of meditation in Buddhism, but one of the simplest and most effective is breath meditation. All you need to do is find a quiet place, close your eyes, and bring your attention to the air entering and leaving your nostrils. Don't try to control the breath, just observe it. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. There's no need to force anything. Another powerful practice is gratitude meditation. Each day, Take a few minutes to reflect on the things you are grateful for. This shifts your perspective, helping you focus on the positive aspects of life instead of what's missing. And there's also letting go meditation. If something is weighing heavily on you, a worry, a sorrow, an emotional burden, imagine holding it in your hands. Breathe deeply, and with each exhale, imagine slowly releasing it, letting it gently drift away. This is a simple yet incredibly powerful practice for releasing unnecessary burdens. When we meditate regularly, even for just a few minutes each day, we will begin to notice subtle but profound changes. We react less to difficulties. We feel more peace in our daily lives. We learn to live with greater presence, present with the current moment, with ourselves, and with those around us. And this very presence is the ultimate key to freeing ourselves from the prison of the mind. It not only helps us let go of control and flow with life, but also helps us connect more deeply with our true nature, where there is no fear, no attachment, only absolute peace and freedom. When we accept and trust that everything in life has its own purpose, that even difficult things bring lessons, we find a profound stillness. And it is in that stillness that trust is born. Trust that what is truly ours will find us in its own time, and what is not ours will gently depart. Meditation is not an escape, but a journey back to your own inner home, where you are the true master, unconfined by any bars, walls, or chains. We have journeyed together through the rooms of the mind's prison, exploring the invisible bars of impermanence, the wall of resisting reality, the chains of control obsession, and the heavy shackles of resentment and self-judgment. We have jointly pulled back the curtain on profound truths and found the precious keys offered by ancient wisdom. Perhaps, after all these stories and contemplations, you still feel a touch of confusion, a hint of doubt. Is it really true that everything will be all right? Is it really true that letting go will bring freedom? This is not an easy path, and there will be days when you stumble. There will be moments when fear resurfaces, when attachment grips you tightly again. And that is perfectly normal. Learning is not a linear path. It is a continuous process of growth, of steps forward and backward. What truly matters is that you return. Return to your breath. Return to these keys. Return to the truth that you are the sky, not the fleeting clouds. Buddhism is not a theory to be read, to be merely understood. It is a practice to be lived. And the best way to integrate these teachings into life is to experience them, to make mistakes, and to patiently move forward. Each day is a new opportunity to apply these teachings, to release a little more unnecessary burden, to accept a little more what is, to trust more in life's mysterious yet wise flow, and to extend compassion to yourself and to those around you, even when it's difficult. Even if you dedicate just a few minutes each day to stillness, to listening to your breath, you are planting the seeds of liberation. Remember one profound truth: if it's truly yours, it will find you. In its own time, in its own way. Your task sometimes is simply to open your heart and let go of what isn't, so your boat can glide smoothly across the ocean of life, instead of straining to battle every wave. So you can live fully, unconfined in the invisible prisons of the mind. Before we conclude, we want to hear from you. What do you think about the lesson from this story/parable? What truly resonated with your heart? Have you ever experienced a moment of awakening or a profound realization in life where you discovered that letting go was the key to liberation? Please share your story below. What other Buddhist parables would you like us to explore in future videos on Buddha's pathway? Every story you share is a lamp, shining light for someone else who is seeking. Thank you for joining us on this journey.